Here at DADvinci, we offer serving suggestions for life. So, in support of World Mental Health Day 2018, I'm going to offer you my story. So, please be aware this is a personal account of what's happened to me. It's raw and it's in-depth. It's important to say as well, I'm not medically trained, but the information I'm offering is based on what I believe to be true. The most important part is if you're feeling any of the symptoms, you need to seek professional medical help. I'm a 41-year-old married father of two. At the time when this started, I would have described my physical condition as adequate and my mental health as excellent, but in hindsight, both were probably exaggerations. I've always been a sensitive sort. I have work stresses, I have life stresses like anyone else, but I never believed that my mental health was an issue. I'm also privileged to often be a source of advice for others, but if this sounds like you, it's really important that you look after your own mental health as well, so please do talk to someone if you think this describes you. It's worth clarifying that we all feel anxious or depressed at times, so worrying about an upcoming event or fearing the state of the news is all very common, but with an anxiety disorder, there's a lot more to it than that. The side effects often include loss of appetite, sleeplessness, and just being unable to think properly, and it's at that point you should consider there's something more happening. You already know what anxiety feels like. It's the jittery nervousness that you get when you're faced with anything you perceive to be a threat. For me, my heart starts pounding, I can't think straight, and I can actually feel a wave of cold energy which flows from my heart down through to my legs. An anxiety disorder is different because anxiety should be a fleeting experience and your body's response is designed to act in a very small amount to that. With an anxiety disorder, this fight or flight response is continually being triggered. I've actually felt physical pain due to the overwhelming nature of the thoughts that were continually firing in my brain, and the body's response to those was absolutely overwhelming. When everything combines to create a really bleak hole, that is depression. People allude to the black dog that follows them around, and it's a really good analogy because it's something that's always there. Depression takes away your will to fight at times. It takes away the things you enjoy, and that allows anxiety to do its absolute worst. What makes anxiety and depression such a terrible combination is that they can cause and perpetuate each other. As an analogy, it's as if the pain from a broken leg could continually re-break your leg. If anxiety and depression are left unchecked, they can take you to your lowest state and they can take you to a place that you just can't come back from. Anxiety and depression are not catching. I can't even point to a specific trigger that had occurred in my life. There was no life event I could point to tie this into. But it was obviously a long, slow process that occurred over time. One of the most important parts of my recovery was when I was feeling anxious about something that I knew I wasn't at all scared of. And that helped me to understand that anxiety will attach itself to anything. Any thought that comes into your mind can become an anxious one. For you, for myself, we have to all be aware of things that can potentially make us anxious. And when we're feeling this way, we need to try to avoid those situations wherever possible. Even the food or drink you consume can affect anxiety. And it's really important to be aware of the particular effects that you get from particular foods and drinks. Alcohol being a classic example. You can watch your fears melt away in a wine or a beer glass, but then you know that the following day they're going to be waiting for you as if they were going to wait until you were at your lowest point. So just be aware of how what you eat and drink can affect your mood. Modern life is unfortunately designed around stressful situations. So you know your average day, you wake up too late, you have an impossible list of things to do before you even get into the car to drive to work. You drive to work fighting through traffic, desperately rushing against the clock. You have a day that's filled with responsibilities as well as activities that just appear at the last minute to test you. You then get in the car exhausted, you fight through traffic again just to get home. You try to fit in time with friends and family. You try to complete your chores for the following day, all working against a deadline that you know you can't meet. You're also under pressure to get your 7.5 hours sleep a night, even though you've stayed up too late completing the aforementioned list of tasks. Don't forget to get your 5 a day. Don't forget to drink 2 litres of water. Don't forget to do some exercise as well. It's just an impossible list sometimes. While it took some time to realise what was happening to me, talking to friends and family was absolutely vital. And this does two important things. It helps you to recognise there is a problem, and it helps you to then agree a plan of action in order to make things better. For seeking help, there are so many options available today. As well as talking to someone in person, you can look at self-help articles, videos online, even CBT programs, which you can run without interacting with a single person. So there will be something that you can do in order to make yourself feel better. This next part is really important. You are not mad and you are not a failure if you admit that you have a problem with anxiety and depression. If you are supporting someone with anxiety and depression, please try to do so in a non-judgmental way. Empathy is really important in this situation, and it can be difficult if you haven't experienced the same yourself. It can be frustrating for both parties if you don't feel that you understand each other, but just know that being there and listening is really important. For me, the sense of relief when I spoke to my doctor was unbelievable. He reaffirmed my feelings, he was pragmatic about what I was feeling, and he told me that it was all completely normal and just an illness that could be treated. This step for anybody is really important. Fundamentally speaking, and certainly in my case, anxiety and depression are just about a chemical imbalance. Medication has been prescribed to me in order to, first of all, mitigate the physical symptoms of anxiety, and secondly, to readdress the chemical balance in my brain. I want to say about medication that we need to break the stigma associated with these. We don't think twice about taking a paracetamol or any painkiller if we feel a pain somewhere in our body. And we have to think of medication for mental health as the same thing. We should be able to talk about this. We shouldn't think that it's anything to be ashamed of. Most importantly though, I've begun to recognise that this is an illness. And when I feel a symptom, it's just that. And hopefully, at that time, I can try to pinpoint the cause. I am determined to make something positive from this. It's an illness and I will beat it. You can beat it. Hopefully some of the steps that I've offered in this video, some of the advice that I've offered can help you. But the most important thing is if you recognise any of these symptoms, speak to a professional as soon as possible. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please see the link section below. There will be a link to a full article which I've written about my experiences of anxiety and depression. If you found this useful, please like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and join us again on DADvinci.